obviously today we're talking about meditation for health and happiness. So you have had really direct experience working with meditation from the ground up in that manner for your own health and happiness, clearly. So, what was going on there? How did that work? What was the mechanics of at least from your perspective and experience, why did it work so well for you?
Well, the first thing I like to mention is that, traditionally in Buddhism, there's a lot of reflections that make your mind turn into the teachings, make you realize some of the futility of the things that we pursue and how they don't really provide for much happiness. I think it's not my unique experience. I think a lot of people that turn towards some kind of spiritual practice, and Buddhism in particular, have been sort of hit by life in some kind of way. So I don't think I'm alone there. But for me, the interest and motivation wasn't just sort of intellectual. I was really dealing with something that brought me a lot of anguish at the time, and that so it was a combination. And in a way, my interest in the arts and medicine had a similar connotation. Like I tended to look inside and try to understand things, and that very curiosity, I would feel like I would like to apply it to other people and helping other people. So that was medicine. With meditation, what happened is that right away, I noticed how disconnected I was with some aspects of my being, particularly, I was very much into sports growing up, but and I did a lot of yoga at some point during my medical career. But meditation brought something new in terms of sort of turning the focus inwards and the introspection aspect. And the tool, what is called shamatha in the language of Buddhism, or Shine in Tibetan, which is the calming down of the mind, which is bringing your mind a little bit more in contact with your body, slowing down. That part is what opened up things that I didn't really know were possible. I remember reading things about, reading Krishnamurti, and he would talk about like observe your thoughts, and I just couldn't make any sense of that. Or, observing your emotions. It's like, I'm overcome by my emotions. My thoughts, I think, like I can't observe my thoughts. Maybe I'm thinking about my thoughts. I couldn't make sense. When I started going, particularly in retreat and having a regular practice, just working with your breath, that alone, just being focused with the breath, brought a certain grounding and calm that I hadn't experienced. So the mind slowed by itself. When people say, calm down, if you try, you realize it's really not very possible. It's not very easy to calm down. But here I had initially what was a technique that when I applied it very consistently and very dedicated, I was at the time, I realized that it really had an effect. It slowed my mind down. And then through that slowing down, I was able to see a lot of processes that before would take over my being. Like this anguish, for example. At one point, I remember in retreat, I started getting sort of the beginning of this panicky thing. And I was in silence, surrounded by silent people during their meditation. So it was completely on my own. But I realized that the technique allowed me to remain there and be accepting. And slowly that shifted in a way that never happened. What used to happen is the thoughts would come and sort of take over. So thoughts brought more thoughts, and, almost like a paranoid sense of self-consciousness. Oh, the panic, and, the panic brings more panic, and so forth. And here, that grounding in the breath and in the body sensations allow me to see that just as a process, and it sort of came and went, and I was left in a very, very pleasant, almost blissful experience. I'm not saying that's what always has to happen, but that was my first big, like, oh, wow, this is completely new. Like,
Wow, that's really beautiful.